What's up, guys? MMA Game here, bringing you another video. This video we're going to be talking about UFC 4. If you guys didn't notice, yesterday on Saturday with the UFC event, they went ahead at 11 a.m. and released the first reveal trailer for the game. So I will be showing off some of that footage in the background of this video, but I also want to go over some of the articles that came out. And the article I'm going to be going over is from Polygon. I'll leave a link to it down below, as well as some links to some other articles I found, but this one I think is one of the better ones. It goes on to talk about a lot of the gameplay changes. So it seems like the release date will be August 14th for UFC. Too late to actually sign up for that, but I'm sure a lot of you guys were able to sign up for that. So that should be pretty cool to get a taste of the game before it actually comes out. But again, we don't know exactly when that will be. An article that they described the 2018's UFC 3 as probably the least pick up and play game in the sports genre. So they're saying that there's a lot of learning curve. They talked about how the controls, they were a bit, complex, and I do agree with that. And so it seems like they're going to go with a more of a basic type of a broader approach, where they're going to try to bring in more people into the game and make it easier for people and more accessible for people to play. And I think that's a very, very good thing. And they go on to talk about, again, the control scheme seeming a bit too complicated, especially elements like submissions and grappling, which I can definitely agree with, especially the grappling. It was just, even when people would ask about it, it's just a big learning curve. It's not like you can't get it, but for pick up and play, a new player, it's not easy for them to understand. So I definitely agree with this change. And one of the biggest things in this article, I think, that was about the game is actually of a mode that they're getting rid of in the new game, and that is actually they're getting rid of Ultimate Team mode. It says it is not returning for UFC 4. So this is probably not going to be too good for people who really liked Ultimate Team. But for me, I actually think this is a good thing, mainly because with the last Ultimate Team in UFC 3, I just think it was so complicated. There were so many intricacies and so much, from the development point, it was probably a lot of time and resources that went into that mode. So the fact that they're getting rid of this mode, it probably means that they can free up a lot of time to focus on other aspects of the game. So I think that's actually a good thing. So let me know what you guys think about them getting rid of Ultimate Team mode in UFC 4. Moving on to some of the new gameplay information. So they released quite a bit. They didn't really go into too much detail about the gameplay information. You get to see little hints of it in the actual trailer. For starters, they are going to do a new revamp of the whole clinch. So if you guys played the past couple UFCs, you've noticed that the clinch gameplay has always been sort of a thing that wasn't very flowy, dynamic. It sort of threw a wrench in the whole flow of the gameplay, in my opinion. So what they're saying, and this is actually coming from the official EA website, so I will leave a link to that as well. They say that they've made it a fluid clinch control, and it says that UFC 4 introduces a real player motion technology into the art of the clinch, creating a fluid experience driven by positioning and physical context. So it's kind of vague there, but it pretty much is saying that they're making it more fluid. We saw some clips from the trailer where they're sort of striking each other in the clinch. It looks new. So hopefully this is good. It seems like it definitely can only improve in that aspect, and that's pretty exciting news with the clinch. So they're, doing a whole lot of work on that. Also, the takedown. It says there's a takedown overhaul. Again, they're saying that it has the RPM technology with a multitude of new takedown animations. Players will feel a larger spectrum of outcomes driven by user control and fighter attributes. So maybe this is a whole different type of takedown system where it's not going to be the typical just hit the R2 or right bumper and down or up, you know, to get the different denials for the takedowns. Some other things on the website that they also mention is the new devastating ground and pound. And this also goes into some more information that they dropped on the Polygon article, but it says with the ground and pound overhaul, UFC 4 puts you in more control of postured up scenarios, giving the striker more tools to aim and pick their shots, and the defender access to more tools like head movement and well-timed counter transitions. So the head movement on the ground is pretty interesting. That's something that they actually had in UFC Undisputed 3. You could move your head on the ground, so that was pretty cool. So it seems like it's going to be a lot more dynamic on the ground, which is good. And something that also went along with that ground and pound information is something that they said about the actual controls in the grappling. So in the article, they said that they've added what Hayes referred to as grappling controls for the rest of us. The new left stick scheme is simple: push up to get up, left to start a submission, and right to mount your opponent and start pounding away. So that's a lot easier to understand than what was in the last game. But it also goes on to say that the complicated positional transitions of old are still available for hardcore series veterans, and there's an in-between setting hybrid that shows you which legacy controls apply to which left stick move you're doing. It's a way to learn the transition controls. So this is kind of interesting. It's saying that there's like a hybrid. Maybe it kind of starts off as a basic one, then maybe you change it to hybrid where you can learn the advanced, and then you could maybe go into an advanced mode, but I don't really know. It just seems like it may be something like that. Let me know what you guys think of that. But I definitely agree with this change, because the grappling is just very hard for people to understand, new players, and the point of the game is to obviously have as many people playing it as possible. So you don't want it to be so overwhelming to new players. So I think this is a very good thing. It makes sense. Up to get up, left to start a submission, right to posture up and start ground and pound. So very, very, very exciting stuff with the grappling. Moving on to the next gameplay information, and that is going into the submissions. It says that submissions no longer rely on moving break walls with the right stick as in UFC 3. There are 2 new submission mini games in UFC 4 that have you chase your opponent around the interface by using the triggers and sticks. The mechanics will be familiar to people who have played other wrestling and MMA games, and they're a lot less complicated to explain to your friend on the couch. So they're saying it could be similar to past games, wrestling games, so that's even possibly WWE games. I haven't played any of the more recent WWE games. I don't really remember how the submissions worked in that. Let me know in the comments if you guys have some background in those WWE games, and so you can let everyone else know how the submissions worked in that. It could be how they're saying chasing around. That seems a little bit familiar to how it was in Undisputed 3. It was sort of a cat and mouse thing where you literally were kind of chasing your opponent around. I didn't mind that mini game either, but we'll just have to wait and see how it actually is. It could be also maybe how it was in EA MMA, possibly some of those mini games. That was like where you would tap the button. That game actually had 2 different mini games as well. You would tap a button, limb submissions, and then it was a different mini game for chokes. So we'll have to wait and see how it all is. Also, there's a little clip in the trailer as well where you can actually see one of the fighters landing some punches briefly, where you can see where she's going for submission and she's actually landing some punches. So that may play a role in it as well. So that is some really interesting new stuff with the submissions. Also, the article goes in and talks about the striking in the game, some new changes to the striking. So what they say about the striking in UFC 4 is that you simply tap buttons for quick strikes and hold them for longer and more damaging, flashy attacks. Buttons are also used for entering the clinch and attempting takedowns instead of the analog stick. So that's pretty interesting. That's a big change. Also, again, some information with the takedowns and clinch. You're using buttons to get into the takedowns and clinches. So that's totally different. Brian Hayes said it's a lot easier on your fingers. So this is pretty interesting. Again, the striking in UFC 3 was pretty complicated when you're dealing with all the different button combinations and all the different strike combos. When you're using uppercuts with the 2 buttons at once, you're holding LB. So maybe they're going to make that simplified. I'm a big fan of doing that. I think that, the striking was good in UFC 3, but I definitely agree that it was a bit too complicated with the multiple buttons and everything like that. So this is going to be very interesting with holding down the button. We're going to have to wait and see how that is. Let me know what your guys' opinions on these changes are, but that pretty much does it with the gameplay changes. It says that in UFC 4, players will go straight into career mode, and it's designed as an onboarding experience with the opening sequence with 4 amateur fights. So you'll get to kind of use boxing, kickboxing, wrestling, jiu-jitsu. So it'll get players used to the game and get to learn. It's like a tutorial. It seems like a type of tutorial type thing when you first get into the game. So that's good. It goes into a similar career as UFC 3 where you're becoming the greatest of all time. They go on to say that the structure in UFC 3 was kind of repetitive, and they're going to try to make it not as repetitive. So instead of playing mini games, they said you're going to just improve your skills by sparring and fighting. So the more you use a move, the better it gets. You can choose to accept and decline fights. You can also stay in a lower World Fighting Alliance minor league as much as you want before you move on into the UFC level. And moving on, next up is they talk about the creative fighter, and this is a big changes in the creative fighter aspect of the game. As we mentioned earlier, they're getting rid of Ultimate Team, so that was pretty much where all the creative fighters were at, and now they are going to, seems like they are putting created fighters in pretty much the whole game from what it seems like. But it says they've added a lot more custom options for your creative fighters, like body types and hair, and that's always good. The accessories now include all kinds of outlandish items, as seen in this screenshot here that they released on their website. You can see just crazy stuff like with the wrestling, the different outfits. They even say like crowns, animal heads, or luchador masks. So to me, I'm a big fan of creative fighter. I really like all that type of stuff. So to me, this is very exciting, and with the luchador masks and stuff like that, I'm a big fan of this. They even say that the tattoo creator is deeper than before. It says that they give the players more freedom in character design, and they're not limited to the kinds of apparel you'd see in real life. So that's, to me, that's a really good thing, because it makes the game fresher. You're not going to see everyone wearing the Reebok trunks and stuff like that. So you'll be able to, a whole bunch of different stuff. And they do say that you'll be able to purchase the items with microtransactions. You'll be able to buy the different with a premium currency, like in the game, where you can unlock the different items like that. But it says they don't affect nothing you can buy affects the gameplay. It's just cosmetic, and they do say that you can unlock everything just by playing the game as well. So that is what they said about Creative Fighter. Very, very exciting, very new type of gameplay. Very excited about it. Let me know what you think about the cast in the comments below. And next up, they add quickly in the article that in offline modes exhibition, they have open weight classes. So you can have like fights with completely open weight. I would actually like if they added this to online. And other than that, if you pre-order, you can get Tyson Fury and Anthony Johnson, the boxers. So that's going to be cool. Another interesting thing that really wasn't in the trailer at all, but they put on the website, is a thing called Blitz Battles. And they have just a little brief thing describing what this is. It's a fast-paced mode that pits you against other fighters online, competing in a round-based rapid-fire tournament. A constant rotation of rule sets keeps the experience fresh and the competition hot. So this looks like it could be pretty fun right here. And it shows the image again with the guys just wearing crazy trunks, zebra skin like headgear, and so different type of color gloves as well. It's just like black and white gloves. So this mode seems really exciting to me. They're talking about rule sets, so I wonder what that could actually mean with the different rule sets. Let me know what you guys think about this. Rapid fire tournament. So a tournament means, multiple people involved in an online thing. This is pretty of everything, this is the thing of all the information that they released on the game that I'm actually most curious about and excited to learn more about this mode, this Blitz Battles. Seems like something I would probably be interested in. Let me know what you guys think. It's talking about rapid fire tournament. So this is pretty cool. I like it. It's a lot different. Hopefully they have even more new modes as well. And yeah, that's pretty much all the information. Also, you know, they have the 2 new venues, the backyard and then the Kumite with the snakes in there. Pretty crazy. That backyard looks awesome to me. Hopefully we can play that online. Anyway, that is the video, guys. Hope you enjoyed it. So in closing, I think that they are going in the right direction with this game. Cannot wait to play the beta. And guys, this game is right around the corner. Let me know everything of what you think about streaming UFC 4 and having more UFC 4 content coming your way. We are getting close. It is UFC 4 hype. Until next time, this has been MMA Game. Peace.